How's it going, you guys? It's Scott with Everyday Home Repairs, and I want to show you how to do a classic DIY electrical project. You might have a room or a hallway where you have no outlets, and you do have one on the opposing wall like I do here. So you want to pull power from that outlet and then position a new electrical box and an outlet on the opposite side of the wall. Now, in order to meet the widest range of scenarios, because all of our homes are different, I will not go down in a basement or crawl space, and I will not go up in an attic. So we'll do everything within this room, and we'll keep it just to an electrical project. No drywall work and no painting afterwards. So we use the setup we have right here where I'll install a new outlet on this side, and I'll show you how to do it in less than 1 hour of work. So let's jump into it. Now, first up, we want to get our bearings on the existing outlet, and specifically I want to know where are the wall studs at so I know the wall cavity that we're going to be working with. Starting off, go ahead and take your faceplate off of your outlet. And it is always good practice, especially if you've painted recently, to use a sharp razor blade and just score around that faceplate. So when we take the faceplate off, we do not damage the paint and do not damage the drywall. Now, why I take the faceplate off at this step, because I still have the power on. We're not going to do any work yet, but sometimes on the electrical box, you can see right around the edge and see which side the stud is on. You can also use a magnetic stud finder, or really any type of stud finder, and I'm suspecting that the stud is on this side. So I'm just going to swipe that back and forth, and I'm going to find a drywall screw that will indicate I have a stud on the right-hand side of that existing outlet. This would also be indicated I have a cold air return down here, and that makes sense because then the stud is right on the side of the cold air return. So for you guys, just for a visual, I will go ahead and put some painter's tape right on the side, indicating that we have a stud on this side of the outlet. Now, standard construction would say that 16 inches on center, I would have an additional stud. That would put me on the other side of my cold air return, and I am finding another drywall screw. So that confirms that I have a stud on this side of the outlet, my wall cavity that I'm working with, and then the stud on the other side of the cold air return. So I have my outlet tester. We do have power indicated by 2 amber LEDs on the outlet tester. I'm going to go ahead and trip my breaker, turn this off, and then we're going to pull this out to get access to the wires and see if we're only fed by 1 piece of Romex or if we have 2 pieces of Romex already coming into this electrical box. All right, so we do have 2 sets of wires coming in. So we have one that is feeding this outlet, and then we're taking it off to power another outlet downstream. So this box now is going to have an additional piece of Romex coming in. We're going to go in from the top. I'll show you more details on that. Now, technically, we could bring our neutral into one of these open holes on the outlet, our hot into one of the open holes on the outlet, and then tie our grounds together. Or you can do a pigtail, and then you would just have 1 set coming out to this outlet and then everything else tied together in your box. I am going to do the pigtail, so I'm going to go ahead and undo all these, and then we'll position our new box and get everything tied together. And just an additional note here on the ground screw, remember you guys, whenever you J-hook, you want to go in the clockwise direction, not in the counterclockwise direction, which this one is in the counterclockwise direction and is incorrect. That's not best practice. So now I want to get 2 dimensions that are going to help me position the new electrical box on the other side of the wall. Now I'm very close to the end of the wall, which is going to be where I'm going to measure from. If you're a little further away, it's no problem. It's still going to be the same process. Now I want my new box to be offset from this existing box. You do not want both of your electrical boxes to be at the same spot in your wall cavity because you do not have enough wall thickness for those to go back to back. So what you want to do is offset those. So I'm going to place mine offset with the center point at 11.5 inches. Additionally, you'll want to get a measurement from the floor to the top of your electrical box, which is 15.5 inches for me. That means the new electrical box will match up with the height of all the other boxes in your home. So I'm going to use 11.5 from the edge here on the other side, and then from the floor go up 15.5 inches to mark the top of my box. Then we'll cut out our box and get it installed. So we'll take those dimensions of 15.5 from the floor surface and 11.5 from the edge of the wall, and that's going to be right at the top of this old work box. I'll use my torpedo level to make sure the box is level once it's installed, and then I'll trace the inside outline. Don't trace around the tabs, that would be too far because those tabs need to sit against the drywall. I'll extend out each side just so I know exactly the outline that I need to cut out. Now you can use an oscillating tool here. I do prefer the oscillating tool, but I also want to show this jab saw, which works really well and is a very inexpensive tool to buy. So just take your time tracing those lines, working it through, and then you should have a perfect rectangle cut out. So now we need to run our new piece of wire from the existing box to our new box. We're just using 12-2 Romex. All that is 12 gauge, 2 conductor, that's the black hot conductor, white neutral conductor, and then you have a bare ground in there. And this part's really easy. I have just kind of jumped over this part in the past, which caused some confusion. So I want to show you, this is a new work box. I just have an additional hole knocked out here up in the corner. This box is exactly what's going on here in the wall. And then I'm just going to feed this 12-2 up through that hole and then into the wall cavity. Then I'll be able to reach through that hole we just cut and then pull that 12-2 to our new location since we're in the same wall cavity. So it's very straightforward on this installation. So now with the wire fed through, I'm going to install it in an old work box. I opened up one of the pass-throughs here. I like this old work box more than your standard blue ones that have the plastic tabs. This is made by Legrand. You'll find a link in the description right below the video to this exact one. I like these metal tabs, and also they can open up a little wider. So if you have plaster walls, they can actually open up wide enough to actually work within plaster walls, in addition to holding on standard half-inch drywall as well. So now I've secured the old work box, and you just want to make sure that you're going to have 6 inches from when you cut the yellow sheathing off, 6 inches of conductor, and a minimum of 3 inches from the actual wall surface. That would be the amount of wire called out in code, and so we have plenty here and we should be good to go. Now installing the outlet at this location, we'll cut that Romex right down the middle to pull off the sheathing and cut it off inside the box. Then we'll strip our 2 conductors, and we'll be using a commercial grade Legrand outlet. That is my favorite type of outlet, and again, a link in the description for your reference if it'll fit your projects around the house. And then this one I really like because I use back wiring on the neutral for the silver terminals, just going straight in the back, and then also tightening up the unused terminal, and for the hot as well. Very quick to wire these up and a very secure connection. Then I'll start to tighten the outlet into the old work box, but I almost forgot, you should break off the Mickey Mouse ears, especially in an old work box. If you do not, it doesn't sit exactly flush to your drywall surface. So by breaking those off, it fits exactly into the old work box and will give you a much better finished product. Now let's tie everything together, and we'll start off by cutting that Romex to the length we need, but I'll keep that extra for the pigtails that will go into this outlet we'll reinstall. Cutting off the sheathing, we'll pull it back and then cut it off again, just like we did on the old one, stripping off our 2 conductors. Now I'll undo that ground because I'm going to bring everything together in 5-wire Wago 221 lever nuts. You guys know I love the lever nuts. I think they're perfect for DIYers and projects such as this. If you're interested, look below the video in the description, and that'll send you over to our Amazon store in the electrical section. It gets good references for the different kits. The most popular that you guys have bought over the years has been this 90 piece. I believe it's because it comes with a new inline splice that's perfect for lighting projects, but then also has a good selection of the 2-wire, 3-wire, and 5-wire, which is exactly the combination that I keep on hand for projects. But back to bringing together the conductors, we'll do the same thing with the neutrals and the hots once we get the ground tucked away. Now you'll bring together all those, and remember, check that translucent housing. You can see through it, and then that's going to make sure that all your conductors are fully seated and you're not going to have any issues, along with a good pull test. And now all I have left after tucking everything back is one neutral, one hot, and the bare ground. So I can easily then wire up my commercial grade Legrand outlet and get it tucked back into place with the two mounting screws, making sure that the new outlet and this existing outlet both work. So everything's buttoned back up. I have the power back on. I just want to test it with my outlet tester. Two amber LEDs indicate we have power both on the existing and on our new location. So we're confirmed we're all back up and running with that new outlet powered, and we're all good. Now in the thumbnail of the video, you saw a long drill bit. There is some rhyme or reason to that. That's if you had a crawl space or a basement and you needed to find the location of an outlet. It wasn't obvious where that location's at, and you want to run wire in the crawl space or basement. Often you can take off your trim and then you open up about a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch, and then you can take your drill bit and drill right on that subfloor down into the basement, leaving the drill bit there so you can find it, or putting a small flag through the hole so you can find it. I've used the same technique in the attic when I'm finding the recessed lighting location and I want to clear away all the insulation. I go ahead and drill up through where I want the recessed light to be, and then I stick a flag up through to locate where I need to clear off the insulation. So this can come in handy, but for a project as simple as this, it's not really needed. Now, if this one almost met your needs, but you actually need to go through a few different studs to get to the new outlet location, and you can't go in the crawl space or basement or up in your attic, I do have a different video for that. So check out this video right here. I'll show you exactly how to go through that, getting through those studs, and again, without having to do drywall or painting. Now, if you just want to move one to like a flat screen TV, like the one behind me, I do also have a video for that, and you can check out this video down here, and that'll walk you through that full process. So thanks for joining me on this video, and we'll catch you on one of those next ones. Take care.